Good morning, Dan. How the heck are you?
Well, eh, I'm all right. The button's telling me we are live, and so let's begin our little Sunday morning coffee clutch that we usually have. Uh, First off, I know I got. I'm so sorry, Steve, that your latest Kickstarter just tanked. Just what are you gonna do? Are you gonna?
And by tank, you mean like a panzer rolling across.
Wow, wow, Steve. You did okay with this so
So,
far.
so far, so good. So far, so
How,
good.
how many days you got left?
19, 18, 19. It was a 3-week campaign. It was, um, but I want to get us back into we're the OGL drama knocked us off our game. Who the hell are you, Dan Taylor?
Who the hell am I? I am Dan Taylor. I guess first and foremost on the creative side right now, I am the dungeon master and showrunner for Catacombs and Comedians, the tagline of which making a joke of the world's greatest role-playing game. And we feature stand-up comedians playing Dungeons and Dragons live on stage in comedy clubs, as well as our streaming program here on the Zero Level Media channel. And besides that, I create role-playing game content, dabble in comic books, and I'm a dad. How about you, Steve?
I'm the writer and artist of the webcomic series, The Middle Age, and I am a fledgling TTRPG creator, having created my first role-playing game supplement for 5th edition back with Zine Quest of last year in August, and I'm now in the middle of running my second Kickstarter for RPG content for a 5e book for rogues. It's a rogue subclass, deadly card-throwing rogues, and the project's called Death Dealing, and it's at deathdealing.com, and it launched Wednesday, 11 a.m., and is going gangbusters.
It was
Crazy.
what, funded in 20 minutes or something like that?
30 minutes to fund, and the previous campaign's goal, I doubled the goal from the last campaign. The last campaign had a goal of 1,000. The big problem with this one is that it's more complicated because it's going to have 2 minis, not one, so the setup costs are greater. It's going to have a deck of cards. Setup costs are greater. Actually, there's not much setup costs with the cards. It's but the minis have a inflexible setup cost that comes with them that they basically have to pay that if you want to even get the molds made. So because of that, I had to raise my goal. We hit that in 30 minutes. We hit what would have been the goal of the previous campaign in 10 minutes. And thanks to you, because you were backer pretty much number one.
I tried. I was
Yeah, it was neck and neck. It was just a burst of excitement when the campaign started, and I was knocked out. I remained knocked out, and we are where we were. It took like 13 days to get where we are currently. Well, maybe it took like two weeks to get where we are right now. We've only been live for 4 days, so it's stunning. The campaign had some hiccups at the start because of this weird setup. It was so much more complicated, but it doesn't have a video. So that's reassuring. I spent a lot of time making a video for the last one. I thought I don't have time to make a video for this one, and it's working out despite that, which is great. So the next step for me is I mailed my mailing list. I contacted social media. Everyone who had signed up, there were 186 people who were signed up to be notified when it launched, which was more than I dared imagine. A lot of the people are coming back are people who came up from the previous campaign, which was the big hope. And yeah, we were unlocking stretch goals. The stretch goals are going to be set up a little further apart. The first one were every $1,000. Now it'll be every $2,000, just because it becomes too much to maintain. And I'm at the point now where I've told my mailing list, I've told social media, all I can do now is reach out to other people running Kickstarters and say, I'll promote you if you promote me. And or well, I'll promote you anyway. And if you want to promote me, go ahead. That's how I do it. I usually back their campaign and then say, it's got to be a campaign I really like, or one that fits. I would think that's a big problem with a lot of the people who want to swap campaign stuff is they do something like dark eldritch horror and they want to link it up with my goofy little rogue subclass. And I'm like, you're just chasing dollars. You're not
right.
You got to think about it like the way trailers are designed for movies. You want to advertise something that this audience might like. And that's why you don't see like Merchant Ivory ads right before, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So anyway, so I'm in the process right now of saying, okay, this is a big campaign. It's running alongside mine right now, and the art style similar, the aesthetic is similar, and so we'll see what happens. We'll see if we can keep it growing. I also would expect any day now. I'm now in the point where I lose people. I see adjusted pledges down or gone altogether.
Oh, good. So thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, please. Anytime. You've got 2 weeks. No rush. What you want to do is you want to do it right after I unlock a stretch goal. So I just crest that number and then pull the number back. And so this is kind of like, have we cleared it? Have we not cleared it?
Well, I remember texting you right before you went live. I'm like, dude, where's the hardcover with the card?
Right.
Tier? Because you bastard that you are, sent me the hardcover when I ordered the soft cover, and now I had to order the hardcover for this one, but I wanted the cards and it wasn't there, so you had to throw that on there at the last minute just for me. How many other people have jumped on that one?
Oh, I don't know. I'm trying not to obsess about it. This is the first one where I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? I'm in a bunch of Facebook Messenger text chains, unrelated to Kickstarter, unrelated to stuff, and my phone keeps lighting up because of that, and that's kind of helping inoculate me from the glow of every time the phone lights up, you think it's Kickstarter backer, and but I don't know. I had to add so many tiers. It was way more complicated. My next one will be simpler in that I think if you're going to have, because I've got the new Project Death Dealing, and the idea is I want to upsell people on, not necessarily upsell, but I want people to buy Intoximancy, the previous one, as well. So suddenly things could have gotten a lot more complicated. And it's like, you can get the soft cover and the cards, the soft cover, the cards, and the minis and the cards, but not the soft cover. And, all these kind of weird combinations. I feel like I should just list each product, and then you get to the add-ons page and build your own set.
Right.
The only complicated bit is I offered a discount on the cards because I need to make so many of those to bring the cost down. If I'm only making 10 decks of cards, it's not going to work. I've got to make 100.
Well, well, after this is over, I'm going to go in and see how many people are buying each tier, just because I'm curious. I know you don't want to. If you don't want to look, fine. You don't need to look. But I
don't mind answering. I can also see the dashboard. But I just didn't know offhand what it comes down to. I don't mind looking, but we're at 172 backers, $6,365, which is, again, well more than the original campaign that instigated all this. By pledge level. Now, which one we were talking about? The hardcover
and the cards.
Hardcover and cards and PDF.
Yes.
16 backers.
See, there you go. Look how much money I made you.
You stopped them from buying the next tier up is what you did. Like, you don't, it's hard to tell. What I am doing this time around is, for more often than not, I'm using more of the custom referral tags you can do on Kickstarter, where you say, this is a specific thing for a specific thing. Like you say, and then adds it appends a little suffix to your URL. So you can track that individually, a little tracking code. And so I can say that my Facebook ad, which I've been running for one day, has made one sale for $66. I can say that, I said on a reminder yesterday, I basically told everybody who backed my previous campaign, I've updated the PDF with all the updates for Intoximancy. You can download a fresh copy. Oh, by the way, the campaign's running. I know that gave 4 people a reminder to go back the campaign, and that represents $190. So it's things like that. And everybody I'm going to share my link with through their campaigns and through my email list, I'm going to try to track everything and, I don't know, hopefully glean some insight from all this.
I wish I had the foresight and the fortitude to do all, keep track of everything like that.
I did it a little late. I had my Facebook ad running, and then the next morning I'm like, oh crud, I didn't do that. And if you change the link, you basically reset the ad, because Facebook doesn't want people to have a really nice ad and then suddenly change where it goes, because scammers,
No, but I found Facebook ads tend to work well when I promote the Catacombs and Comedians show, I think.
What parameters do you use to say, help to target people?
local, like within 50 miles of Nashville.
That's good.
Dungeons and Dragons, stand-up comedy, and ages 18 to 55.
That's great.
And they tend to, I think, I mean, I don't have any specific numbers, but when I do run them, those shows have tended to fill up better than shows that haven't. So I'm assuming it's the Facebook.
Do you mind sharing things like what's your daily budget, or do you have an overall campaign budget?
I do a cheap campaign budget of maybe $20-$40 tops.
Right.
I'll just run it for a week. Maybe early when the tickets go on sale, and then I'll run it again. Like the week before, right up to like 2 days before the show start, the show date.
Right.
So, and they tend to do well. And, and I just do, there are a couple local D&D Middle Tennessee Facebook groups and stuff. And I just put it up on there. And, but and I do the same thing for Huntsville, because my next Huntsville show is this Thursday.
Wow.
So I got to drive down to Huntsville, and I'm going to be doing some of the new plans to make the show bigger and better. Like just before we jumped on today, I was working on, like at the clubs I perform at so far, or we have the show at Zanies in Nashville and Stand Up Live in Huntsville. They have like a screen on the stage showing promos of upcoming comics and stuff like that. Well, now on the Catacombs Comedian show, it's going to be showing the characters and, some of those special little rules we have for the show, like how the audience can, call for the players that drink a potion of healing if they need it, or
that's awesome.
I'll explain terminology, because that was one of the things that the owner of Zanies, who's really, helping me out with the show, he says, you got to, explain it more to the audience, make, and stuff like that. So we're going to utilize that time while people are seating and ordering their drinks and stuff like that.
That's great.
To understand what's going to happen with the show. So I'm working on that, and hopefully we'll have that ready for the Huntsville show on Thursday. And then the next show at Zanies, which is the owner's main club, he's at, who I really have to impress. I'm going to hopefully have a video before as well, like a trailer, in a time where adventurers, are in a world. So now that I don't have my football season going on, I get to spend a lot of time working on Catacombs and Comedians, and the show's, we're powering through, and I think it's getting better. It's getting stronger. I talked about how we're going to do Knoxville now in May. I believe I don't know the specific date, but we're set for May. Talk to the Gamer Home. We're going to go up there in October to do that convention. So we're moving along. I'm plugging away. There's now Catacomb, I still don't have any patrons yet on the Catacombs of Comedians Patreon, which is fine. But I'm still slowly, well, not even slowly, I'm thinking, steadily building content on there. So hopefully people get there. I do have a promo going. Anybody that joins before the release of the movie gets one of my fancy stickers that I ripped off of Honor Among Thieves. And I'm working that angle, and I still haven't sent out in knowledge or word of that via the newsletter yet, because I just I want to get more content on there. So when
you want to have more stuff for them, more stuff to appeal to them, and get people jazzed about signing up.
Exactly, but like what I was talking about in that little slideshow before the shows, of course there will be a QR code to join the mailing list, and of course there will be a QR code to go to the website, and of course there will be, hey, you want the stats for the foul board? Join, go here, right. Stuff like that. So
that's awesome. Do you I think when we last talked, you were thinking maybe you might try to squeeze something into Zine Quest. Do you think you're going to try to do something? Or
I don't think it's going to happen this year. Yeah, just too much work behind the scenes of building the show stronger and better that I don't have any time to dedicate to. And I'm setting myself up for the word failure almost automatically came out. I'm setting myself up to start working on, I want to have an early start on, let's say, the Project Black Flag stuff.
Nice.
Things like that, and I'm still working on 4D20 because I want to launch that in April.
Oh, of course you do. Of course you
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So that's taken up a lot of time that I would be putting towards a zine. I'm working on that instead. So
Right. That's better. That's good because I think yeah, I mean if you're going to hastily throw something together, you're not going to be as happy with it, and you're beating an arbitrary deadline set by somebody else as opposed to when the thing is ready to go. I think you're doing the right thing. And
yeah,
focusing on the catacombs and comedians is so much better because you basically are still in the you're still ramping up the actual play show here on the channel. I mean, having a couple of episodes in is like you're still tightening bolts and things like that. It's still
exactly.
the maiden voyage,
Yeah, and
right?
I mean, this is a busy week for Catacombs and Comedians because I've got the streaming show Wednesday, Wrath of the Aristocrats, and then I've got the live show, which is a 2-hour drive for me down to Huntsville, Thursday night, and then Friday night is part 2 of the last Deep Delve Pizza Co. adventure that we're running every other week
That's
for
great.
Catacombs and Comedians at the game store. So yeah, I'm all.
You're a lot of D&D this week.
I got a lot of D&D, a lot of dungeon mastering in it, but of course my bi-weekly game that I had my player at got canceled yesterday. So it's been a long time since I've actually been a player. I've just all dungeon mastering lately.
So is that when it gets canceled, do you think immediately, okay, I've got time to work on something else? Is that something where any amount of time that opens up immediately gets flooded with your to-do list? Or
A lot of times,
I take a well-deserved night off?
No, I just like yesterday, I did family stuff so I can spend all day today working on stuff.
Right.
So, I got my family tired of me.
Yeah. They had their fill.
So they're like, "Where's Dad? Dad, just go to your office and, work on
whatever you do in
things."
there, whatever that is.
So, but yeah, because Friday night, I took Jean Louise and we had daddy-daughter date night. And then yesterday, Katie and we went to Zany's to watch Big J Okerson, a comic. Yeah. Filthy show. And, so it's kind of weird because I'll be at the comedy club now. And I'm like hanging out with a bunch of comics because, Aaron Weber was there, was her guest player on her second episode. And, Nate Bargatze was, did a guest set last night, surprise guest set. So I'm just hanging out with comics talking about, I got a show in Huntsville next Thursday. And then Knoxville is getting set up. And then I'm playing here in April. So
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I'm known as the Dungeons and Dragons guy. Of
course. I mean, not to mention, you got such a cool look. I mean, I think it's like that's awesome.
So, so it's the show. I think the show's going to be really strong. I really hope to pack the seats this one. I hope it's our biggest audience. So I'll probably drop a whole $80 on Facebook ads.
Ooh, yeah. I getting back to the Facebook ad thing as you bring it up. I spend $5 a day. That's my budget. I won't do more than that, and I'll keep an eye on it. If I don't, if it doesn't convert after like 2 days, I'm going to cancel. I'm just going to stop it. I'm a coward. Or if it has a really good couple of days, that'll give it enough momentum for me to let it slide for a little bit. But
no, that's exactly about what I do. Like $5 a day for 4 days.
Right.
And then it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's it's weird when I see it come on up on my own Facebook feed. And I go, well, I guess I fit the demographic.
Well, I've made one tweak to my ads, which worked in the last one, I think. If you are a fan of the middle age, the campaign page, I run everything through. I only have one business account, I think, with Facebook, and it's the middle age, my webcomic, and so it all runs through there. If you're a fan of the middle age, if you like the middle age page, I'm excluding you from the people who see it because I'm on a principle level. I'm not going to pay to advertise to my existing fan base. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if the algorithm's not going to show this to the people who've subscribed, essentially, or if you're not already on my mailing list, but I don't want to, I still see it on my own feed. I guess apparently I don't like my own page. Can I not like my own page? I've got to like my own page. I've got to figure that out. But I do see my own ads. But also, I'm only running it on the main column of Facebook and in the corner. I'm not running it on Instagram or any of that stuff. I don't know if you do Instagram or if you do all the other
I
platforms.
don't do Instagram, I don't think.
Good.
Which
I feel like that's not going to work as well.
I mean, I should probably do a specific ad for Instagram, because there are a lot of comics and stuff are followed on Instagram.
I was thinking about Catacombs and Comedians and the shorts feature on YouTube, that they really pump a lot of things out. If it's a nice short 15-second, 30-second thing, you probably have, and it's a lot. It would seem to me to be a lot less work than trying to cut. If you're going to edit all the ums and uhs out of a 2-hour actual play stream, or if you're going to cut all the ums and uhs out of just me talking now, this will be a 10-minute video. Just did it again. I'm wondering if the shorts wouldn't be a good idea to sample out from the longer actual play to get more eyeballs.
It probably would. I mean, that and
your copious free time.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. I need a social media manager that's willing to work for T-shirts and stickers.
Don't you have an intern? Doesn't Zero Level Media have a?
Yeah, but he's too busy with real life to help me out. Basically, his most important job is to ride shotgun with me to Huntsville, so I don't fall asleep on the way back.
Poke you with a stick.
Yeah,
wake up.
And he's good to bounce off ideas and stuff like that. So I mean, he helps me plot the stories, because he works at my day job with me, so we spend all day, 8 hours a day, plotting Catacombs and Comedians catastrophes.
That's awesome. You're gonna go to Huntsville. You drive 2 hours. You set up, do the show. Do you get to hang out afterwards with the comedians and at the place and have some chicken wings or chicken fingers before getting back on the road, or are you basically back on the road pretty much like a hit and run?
I wait until the club manager cuts me my check, and then I'm back on the road.
Gotcha.
But I get to the club, a couple hours or like an hour to 2 hours early. We'll have dinner there because they got good food at the Huntsville Stand Up Live.
Nice.
The comics roll in, and I'll chat with them about their character, what we're doing. Clue people in on and then Huntsville has such a strong. It's our best fan base. A lot of return people come to see the show compared to Zanies in Nashville. It's hardly any return crowd. It's almost new people every time, but in Huntsville, it's a good chunk of people who've seen the show before come back. And so I'm to the point now where I recognize people, and so I'll work the room table to table, say, hey, how you doing?
What for the thing about your Patreon, how do we convince those people, clearly the loyal people who love what you're doing? How do we get them to what is it you offer them? What status do you give them if they're Patreon supporters? Is there any way to turn them into, I mean, again, it might be just 10 people giving $2 a month or whatever, $3 a month. It might not, it'll be gas money, but
no, and gas money is worth it.
Yeah.
If Patreon just paid for gas money to the various shows, I'd be happy. Or if it helped pay,
right,
paid a little bit of my internet, that's all.
Yeah.
For the streaming shows.
How do we do that? What is it? Or what is it that you how do you entice them? What's the thing that would get them to? I did that with the last Kickstarter I did. I had an exit survey question, which was, and if you're a Patreon supporter of Steve, I'm going to throw in an extra zine. It was one of the ones I had done previously. It wasn't like a D&D zine. It's just more silly magic items from the world of the Middle Age. It said, yes, I'm a patron. No, I'm not. Or I'm about to be. I want that zine. And people click that. And those are some of the folks who I haven't mailed their stuff out to because they never responded and they're not Patreon supporters. So I'm following up with them right now saying, hey, do you want to, and then some of them are saying, I can't swing it right now. I'm like, I'm giving them the zine anyway, just for telling me. And the people, and some people have said yes, and they've signed up. And I'm like, okay, that's a thing I can give people to get them to dip their toe in. They might only be a Patreon supporter for a month, but they might be long. It might be longer than that. So I don't know. I'm wondering. I'm trying to figure out what I can do uh, to get people. So I'm thinking STL files, but I'm
Right.
hardly a bargain. Some people are like, "Hey, give us $1 a month and you'll get infinite STLs models." Like I can't
No,
compete.
and that's something I plan on doing because I have all my players design their characters on Hero Forge.
Oh,
So I'm just going to take their, buy the STL files and have them available to patrons.
are you able to distribute? Do they let you distribute them?
I'll look it up, but I figure if I buy it, it's mine, isn't it?
Don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
It's
it's so weird with how things work, but
yeah, it's me. I don't know if it's like a music track where you buy it but you can't distribute it.
I'm sure there's some way I can,
Yeah, but
do
it
it.
might. But it also might be a thing where I'm not selling it. I'm giving it away to people who happen to be Patreon supporters.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
give it away freely.
but because on my Patreon right now, I've got a lot of free stuff. Just hey, this is it, because I'm using it as the basic Catacombs community page, and then for like $3, I got 3, 5, and 10. I think I might. Well, I was thinking about dropping it to $8, but I think I might leave it at 10 because 10 you get physical swag every month, and then it's just it might be stickers or trading cards or.
Is it swag you're going to fulfill, or is it swag that you're using their system to fulfill?
I'm fulfilling.
Okay.
So just to cover the postage, but it's just a little something. But there might be another one where I can DM a game for patrons, at another at a certain level. Right. I just got to figure out what time. Again, my copious spare time when when I'd be able to pull that off. But yeah, just I'm just gonna because like if you're at I think the 5 or I can't remember the levels. But there's one level you can like the awful house. Here's a map. Here's a brief description of it. I put it up there for you. But if you're up at the next tier level, you can download that PDF that I sent you.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, is what Then it has a little more description.
I thought that PDF looked great. It's the design's excellent. It's very straightforward. It's not but it's the sort of thing where it's really cool because it's the sort of thing. I was also thinking like Waffle Houses just being kind of always on the outskirts of a town.
Mm-hmm.
I could just see you just putting a person just taking this thing and just plopping it outside their town. It's be so easy, and you've made it self-contained. And
yeah, and it has a brief description of each room, and I don't, it's not any specific. It's your tavern, where the adventurers begin their adventure. That's
And okay, so Ellie, as a zine quest, as a $1 PDF or a 50-cent PDF with a campaign goal of $1, why? Because it could make $50. Or are you thinking, well, it's only going to get $10? Why should I?
Yeah, because mainly I'll spend
2 days. Yeah.
160 man hours putting it together.
Right. Yeah, I get you.
So that's why I don't do something, I just don't throw it out there. But then again, it wouldn't hurt the promotion of it, Catacombs of Comedians, because
yeah, I did a video this week with it was Wednesday night. Wednesday was a marathon day, so Tuesday night I'm up late tweaking everything on the Kickstarter page. I'm up early Wednesday morning preparing everything, tweaking everything, changing garbage and uploading new graphics, and the campaign goes live. And then I live stream for like an hour or so, and then I kind of had to walk away. And I had a episode of Pencil to Pencil, which is a podcast I do with Jamar Nicholas and Mike Manley over on YouTube on Wednesday nights. And the topic was Kickstarter, because like we were looking for a topic. I'm like, okay, this is fresh in my mind. It's something I can talk about. And one of the things I was proposing to people was modest goals and establishing a track record with people, so that even if it's only 20 backers, all 20 of those people get something cool, so that when you do your next Kickstarter, you have 25 backers or 40 backers. And as you have this kind of incremental growth that builds towards something, so that people are on board no matter what you do. And I keep telling people to do that. That's the kind of way to. I like what you're talking about with the 420 project with your because I think people are going to get a good sense of your sense of humor with that, and I think that's what's going to be. I think that's your secret sauce.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure if the gameplay might be great. The gameplay might. Well, let's go the other way. Let's say the gameplay. Let's say gameplay is very particular to a person, but I think a sense of humor, especially a punny sense of humor, is more universal than the game style. Like I can imagine putting the template of your humor on top of pretty much any game, and it would make it funnier. And I think 420 leans into your humor more than the Oddity Offprint did.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's going to be. I don't know. I'm excited for it. I'm here to help in whatever way I can.
Oh, good. Guess who's doing the cover now? No.
Okay. Really? Really? Huh. All right, I can think of something. Well, I know I currently have a miniature I have to sculpt first.
Yeah.
But,
and then I was going to hit you up to do the cover for Star Marshals too. So
Star Marshals.
The
Is that
comic.
for the comic?
That's my comic. Yeah.
I'm still I was in gaming mode. I'm like, okay, he's okay. This is the Western game he was going to do. He's going to put it into space, and that's going to solve all the possible cultural concerns.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah.
So your to-do list is filling up.
I mean, I could very easily turn the concept of Star Marshals into a role-playing game. No problem. I could use one of the sci-fi games, but we're working on right now because the Nashville convention is in June, and I'm just trying to decide if I want to get a table for that comic convention.
What's which convention is this?
Nashville Comic Con.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking, it might be worth, having, Chris come up. Oh, thank you. I do. It is quite epic. And get the mic out of the way. And so I'm thinking, have Chris come up and we just do, it's a table to set up for Star Marshals. But since I'm in Nashville, the little corner of the table, I can have my little Catacombs and Comedians display. Because
absolutely,
the games I do there is Nashville based, and the shows I do at Zany's is Nashville based. So I think it's like $200 for an artist alley table. And I was thinking maybe we could do I could do a show like God, how come I'm blocking on the panel? Except to have it be a Catacombs of Comedian show,
right?
And that would be, I would have, the comics, but it'd only be an hour and real quick. But I think, that I don't know. Yeah, so I got, like I said, Chris is almost done with all the artwork on the pages, and I got to check it with my letter, see how he's gone. But and of course, I want to run that as a Kickstarter as well, sure, around the time of the convention. So I just got to get everything figured out time wise.
That's great. I found it challenging when having the gaming stuff on the table at a comic convention with the comics. It was interesting. It did work. It brought a whole other group of people over to the table. I think having a large D20 of any visible kind of size, like basically just anything that says from a distance Dungeons and Dragons. I had the minis, or it says tabletop role playing games. And I had the minis on my table, and I made larger 3D prints of them. I had them made, and those brought people over in a different way. I also put like a slightly different tablecloth. On the section,
like a table runner.
Yeah, just on the section that is of a different product that kind of breaks the line up, so people don't think this is it confuses when they see something that seems to be one presentation that's got too many different pieces to it. Yeah, I would just bring a extra little tablecloth or a table, like you're saying, a table runner.
Yeah.
How about your 3D printer? Is that
not up yet? I still haven't got that rolling yet. Because I got to go out in the garage today and fix the garage door, and maybe while I'm out there, I'll get the 3D printer at least out of the plastic and up and running.
Did you? I see a question from Tommy Kuru. Your favorite D&D class? Do you have a favorite D&D class, Dan?
Rogue.
I don't think I ever asked you.
Rogue.
Anyone? Do you have a least favorite D&D class?
Cleric.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Or Bard. As a DM, it's Bard. I'm not a fan of Bards in my game. But in Catacombs and Comedians, it's fine. But in a real game now, in a serious game, I'm not a fan of Bards.
And what was your initial reaction with cleric? What was it? What is it that as you were saying as a dungeon master or as a player or as both?
As a player,
Okay.
I'm not a theological person.
My buddy Scott feels my dungeon master Scott feels exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. He's like, can't quite. The RP is a little tougher for him because it just seems to be a different kind of. It doesn't fit his character. It doesn't fit his personal personality. And
even as a DM, like I've run games where the gods have left. They're gone. They vanished.
Right.
So there are not even any cleric. Nobody can even be a cleric in those games. And so a lot of the quest is like to try to bring the gods back.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, and wizards are kind of hard just because they are wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks just because there's so much homework.
Right. Sure.
Rogues, I just like rogues. They're sneaky.
Yeah. I played it. I just finished a campaign for 2.5 years where I was a bard, College of Lore bard, and I loved it. I ended up taking a 1-level dip in sorcerer just because I wanted to roll dice. It's a lot of when you're playing a bard. There's a lot of you're asking the enemies to make saving throws, so you don't get to roll dice that much. So I at least wanted to be able to roll to hit every once in a while with a cantrip or something like that. But yeah, it's interesting. Like I told you, my next book. So the Kickstarter that's going on right now at Death Dealing is for a rogue, and the one after that is and the other character I have is my level 3 character is I do have a cleric. I have a level 3 cleric. It's not the kind of cleric I want to do for my next subclass, but it is a Warforged cleric, with the concept being that it is the master control program is a deity. And the idea of leveling up is more like bringing old systems online. So it's not so much you're not really gaining a level or gaining additional divinity or something like that, or getting more in tune with the holiness of the universe. It's more like these are corroded systems that you're slowly trying to bring back into in working order. So that's been, I was able to get my head around that a little bit.
I like that. Yeah, I like that idea a lot. That works.
But it still has the same mechanics of spiritual weapon and
it's all the fluff. The fluff is what makes it, I mean, the crunch can all be the same for every, character.
And it's an order domain cleric. So I kind of feel a little Robocop-y in how I'm playing him. Like,
dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yeah, exactly. Come with me if you want to live. It's very much like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because did you check out the Black Flag playtest packet?
Oh, I didn't download the packet, but I watched a lot of reviews of it. So have you downloaded it? What do you take on it?
I did. I'm kind of excited about it. And, it's just, the basics of player creation with the backgrounds and ancestry and, species and how, you could be an elf raised by dwarves or whatever like that. But it gave me kind of an idea of how I might, because I would love to be, as far as a third-party content creator, to be one of the early creators for Black Flag, if that were to happen. So that's why I ordered myself a little Black Flag notebook.
Oh, wow. Is that something they're selling?
Yeah, you got the T-shirt. I got the little.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The little journal.
So when you look at the packet, do you primarily look at it through the lens as a dungeon master? I mean, as a professional dungeon master, or are you looking at it as a player?
A content creator is how I look at it.
Okay. So you're looking at it as like, okay, where are the gaps in here that I can fill? That kind of thing.
Yeah. How can I tweak this, or how can I make this work best for me, or how can I, exploit, creatively exploit, not rules, not game breaking or, crunch like that, but ooh, that just opened up an avenue if I can do, they mentioned this one thing. What if I turn that into a, something that's six things as a part of one, just sort of,
Sure.
flair like that. And
That's cool.
and that the Black Flag and even the one D&D playtest that packets have come out have already, I'm like, okay, let's see, how can I mechanics? Because I'm still thinking, I've been sitting on this city map called Warrenhold that I made a couple of years ago. Here, let me bring it up.
Oh, please. Thanks for being here, Tommy. Yeah, I totally agree, Tommy.
Okay, here's a map that I made.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And I keep thinking, what am I going to do with this map? What am I? And I have it on my wall, and I have it as a poster over here. It's 2 feet by 2 feet.
You didn't have a plan when you made that?
No.
You're like, I want to make a cool map.
Yeah.
Huh.
And so I just did that off of. I used an old. I don't use Adobe Photoshop or anything like that either. I used an old graphics program. And
gotta say, I love the colors. I like that dotted line you have along the shoreline. I like the river running through the city. Man, holy cow, dude.
And so I designed this, and I'm thinking, okay, with this whole no, they're not elevation. Those are the squares. They're just like city blocks. The little squiggly line. Here I am pointing the map to help you out. Elevation, like around, like that castle in the middle. You see how that's kind of an elevation type of thing working for it there. And down here along, this temple is on a cliff overlooking the ocean. And then this is all raised, the main castle type of thing.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
The way I worked this out is, I drew each little building, and it took me months to do this. But they're districts. I've already broken it up into 12 or 13 districts, I think. So if I were to use like Black Flag's character creation, I could have, you may be from the North District here, but you were raised, you hung out with a group of people from this district here. So that, each district would have its own backgrounds and its own traits and stuff like that. So I'm thinking of maybe my project Black Flag is going to be, my project Black Flag is going to be a huge city with all sorts of stuff in it.
That's great. That's great.
But things change.
But it's spectacular. I love that. I love that exists, and I love that you did a spectacular job, man.
Thanks. Yeah, it looks a little too rigid on the north and west side, but whatever.
Then those are the dwarven districts or something like that.
Well, and I figure there's shanty villages on outside the wall on each of them, because you just can't, not just anybody can get into Warrenhold. You have to have a reason, and of course it's got a whole underground thing working through too, and it's got canals. You see how the canals connect to the rivers and things, and
it's really good.
Because like you could sort of get a sense. What I was going in a sense, like let's say they started out here. This was the original castle, and they built along the coast. And then, okay, well, let's build a castle up here, up here on the hill. And then so then maybe where this canal is, that may have been the border of it originally. And then they built on past those canals, sort of thing. So.
Yeah, that's stunning.
Yeah. So, that's, and here's where the rich people live, and here's the guild, the avenue of guilds, and then right here is the Academy of Magic. So this whole island type of thing here in the middle is all mysterious and magic and weird. And then like here, I've already got lore where this forest is starting to creep in on the city, trying to take it back. And then the yellowish buildings here are points of interest. I don't even know exactly what they might be yet. I just came up with a neat name, or I wanted to design a neat, thing. Here's Merchant Row, and then right here, I don't know if this is like the Strip in Vegas or Broadway in Nashville. This is where all the bards hang out. This is where all the nightclubs and
Zanies.
yeah,
Sure.
right here. And there's an amphitheater right here for performances, and here's where they have the jousting, and here's the Coliseum for the major big fights, and I got graveyards here and there sprinkled throughout it, and so yeah, so hopefully I'll do something with this.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Holy cow. The work is done. I mean, because a lot of people can write down lists of here's what this building and here's what this and here's this and that. And then the map is the thing that's going to stop them. You've done the hard part. I think the hard part first.
So I'll try to remember to send you the whole map so you can take a look.
If that was your Zine Quest thing alone, it's just the city of Warrenholt. That's your zine.
But I would have to write all the stuff, and I haven't gotten that all fleshed out yet.
Right.
Yeah, the southwest corner. Yeah, that's where the little harbor is. And I've got the whole story about how originally a ship crashed here, because of a storm. It was seeking shelter from a storm, and the city was built from that point on. And,
that's awesome.
Like I can't blow it up enough, but there's certain, here's like where the fairy druid type people hang out, and and this is all mysterious gardens outside the castle, forest, and who knows what the hell's going on in this little cabin right here.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I just love building this kind of crap. This sort of stuff is my thing. So
that's really cool.
So yeah, I'm
super impressed.
I was thinking of doing. Yeah, I've had ideas for this okay, and then it changes, but I'm thinking like maybe Project Black Flag might be the catalyst to get it, to take this and use that as the basis to build something, because everyone's going to need a major city for their campaigns when they first start, right?
Sure. And it's interesting, the reviews I saw of Black Flag, some of them were a little bit like mixed, or they were trying to stay optimistic, but they felt like it wasn't revolutionary enough. I'm like, it feels weird because it's meant to be the thing which is going to keep 5e alive, right? I mean, that's kind of like the idea. It's a splintering sect of 5e, and
it's the 5e Pathfinder.
Kind of, I think that's what they want to be. But I think what made Pathfinder work was that 4 was not welcome. Not only was there no place to do a lot of creative stuff, but 4 was not as popular a game. People didn't care for the mechanics, the structure of it, the MMORPG of it all. So I'm hoping that Black Flag can get its footing, even if 1D&D is a solid game, right? Because if 1D&D is basically, 1D&D feels like it's going to be a very much a safe. They're trying to be as safe as possible, apart from their licensing, apart from the business weasels. It seems like the whole idea that they want to make it as backwards compatible with 5 as possible. It's kind of them saying we want it backwards compatible with Critical Role. If you've watched Critical Role and you've learned how to play from watching all these actual play, if you're a fan of Catacombs and Comedians and Dimension 20, that you'll be able to.
Oh, like Catacombs and Comedians is on that list. Come on.
It's on my list. It's an example of actual play show. That the idea that if people are familiar with that and like that style of play, even explaining it to your players who never play, your comedians who never played before. If 1D&D is too much of a departure, they're going to get thrown off. So I feel like it has to be a natural progression, but it has to be different enough for them to sell new books. It's a weird compromise they're making.
And looking at the two things, like 1D&D and Project Black Flag, there's a lot of similarities already.
Right.
I mean, since they're both going to make it compatible to 5th edition, that let's say I do this with Project Black Flag and it's something really neat. If I decide, I might be able to do a 1D&D version, relatively simple, So.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my hope to take Intoximancy and, it's got my little 5e logo on there. And if I do a version of it for Project Black Flag, once the logo is available, and I'll do one for 1D&D, if an OGL or Creative Commons. The last we saw from this apology tour of Kevin, what was it, Brink?
Yeah, so yeah, I think so.
That suggesting that 1D&D would have some sort of Creative Commons license or would have something along those lines. That seems to be the latest hinting from people reading the tea leaves. So if that's the case, if I can do a version of this that's 1D&D compatible or Black Flag compatible, or I'm still trying to learn Pathfinder to make a Pathfinder version. So much to do. Always more to do.
Always more to do.
But I love the idea of selling the same book to more people.
Yeah, because the artwork's done for it already.
Like that map of Warnhold. It's like if it's done, it's just about changing the language, change strength to dexterity or dexterity to agility or whatever the heck.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it is God damn, that is a good map.
Heck yeah. You change the color scheme to blue, and I would use that in your sci-fi game. Change the fences around the outside to wooden posts and make it for your Western. It's a good map. I would find a home for that.
Yeah, I gotta do something with it.
Heck yeah.
While I'm showing off some creative stuff, let me show you the poster that I did for the next show.
Oh, please.
It's a side-by-side comparison of another poster.
That's excellent.
So yeah, that's the show for the Zany's April 3rd show, and I put it up and I tagged the two directors of the film, and they're apparently the only two that saw it because they're the only one that reacted to the picture.
They did react to it.
Yeah, one of the directors liked it, and the other one goes, "Is that a turkey in the ampersand?" So I had to explain foul bore to them. So
that is excellent. I'm glad they responded. That's delightful. That looks great. Will posters be available at the show?
Yes, posters will be available at the show for this one. I will have posters printed for this one, and I think I sell posters for $5. They're 11 by 17.
I like your poster better. The colors are excellent. Good choices.
Thanks.
The artwork, is that all Musgrave?
No, that's all Stephen Coughlin of the characters, and then the background with the blue mountains and the dragon is just piece of artwork that I bought.
Wow, it looks great.
And just put it back there. Yeah,
I like the choice of the outline around the figures too. That helps.
Yeah, I tried without the outline, and they just got washed into each other, and you couldn't figure out who was who, and I don't know, like over here.
And is that you as the wizard?
Everybody says that, but no, I don't think so.
Really?
Maybe. I didn't realize it when I designed the character, but yeah.
There's something about the brow. I'm like
the bushy eyebrows. I don't wear that much eyeliner.
Not on the stream anyway.
No.
That's great.
So yeah, that's working, always working.
That's great. That's really great. I have how much time do I have left on my campaign? 18 days to go. I'm pretty sure the needle has not moved at all during the live stream. It's early. I also the thing where I'm not gonna. I like getting away from my computer and seeing if there's any activity in the time I've been gone. Hopefully, positive activity. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. It makes me hopeful for the future. All the stuff we were worried about with 1D&D and the OGL and the Creative Commons license, it's all fixed with this. I mean, that we could keep doing our stuff, and there's not a big question mark hanging over it. There's not a huge backlash against 5e content. That was another big thing we had to worry about. If there was a whole boycott 5e, I mean, that could very much have been a real thing.
Yeah,
fortunately,
I was worried about that because I mean, I have to use Dungeons and Dragons as Catacombs and Comedians because nobody's gonna, the general audience isn't gonna get it, unless I'm saying, hey, we're making fun of Dungeons and Dragons. If I say we're making fun of, Pathfinder, the general audience is gonna go, what?
Right.
That? So
The public doesn't know that there's a difference between D&D as a kind of game versus D&D as a brand. It's
right.
like assuming soccer, if again, any sport. So yeah, well, I'm glad it's working out. I'm going to use the Creative Commons license in the death dealing book for sure. I feel like that is the right one to do. I want to make a Strahd joke in there. I want to include some stuff. I want to make a Beholder reference in there because since they're all part of the Creative Commons, I can't call the thing. I can't have it on the cover because it's a brand issue. They're still registered trademarks. But I feel like I want to make a couple of jokes. Like I want there to be like medicine called the Cures of Strahd. But you can't have a zine called Cures of Strahd.
I was thinking, how with my inspiration that I use for the Catacombs of Comedians, I use custom poker chips.
Right.
You got to work poker chips into death dealing somehow.
No. It's all about the cards. It's not I mean, I do make some gambling. A lot of the riffs are, I mean, one of the first things I did was, okay, what are all the jokes about cards and all the colloquialisms and aphorisms regarding gambling and cards and casinos. So one of the monsters is the house because the house always wins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this gigantic animated house. So I did a pretty good drawing of it despite being delirious on sinus medication.
No, I saw that drawing. It looked cool.
Oh, thanks. So I'm going to sculpt that next. It'll probably be the largest mini. I don't have any plans to cast it, but I will make it the STL available. But I do think that I didn't want to do any more than the cards because I felt like it gets weird with shipping. If I sell just a book, I can mail it media mail in the United States. But if you add anything too lavish with it, you can add a sticker. According to the post office, anything that would fit in a regular first class envelope. But if you get once I got into the realm of coasters, like I did with my Intoximancy book, that's pushing it. That's now you're getting into the realm of merchandise, and I feel like a poker chip is begging to have problems with the post.
Okay, well here's my idea number 2: a spell, 52 pickup, which if the character fails it, they have to stop whatever they're doing to pick up
whatever you've knocked over. Yeah. Whatever.
So it's like and it takes
Rain Man.
Yeah. So they have to, because I don't know if you were ever suckered into playing that game as a kid.
I was familiar with it. I don't think I was ever. I think I probably tried to sucker people into it. I never would do it. I just didn't want the mess. I didn't want to mess up the cards.
But yeah, it's like they're frozen until they pick up everything. Like Tasha's hideous laughter or something like that. They can't, they can't make a move or do an attack until they pick up the 52 cards. Just, I don't know.
The subclass perk, one of the subclass perks I do is called what's it called? Cutting the deck, where you as a rogue in your turn. I don't know if I mentioned it before.
Yeah,
in your turn. Okay. So I feel like that's fun because it can involve I don't know. It doesn't feel like it breaks the game. Hey, we have another backer. Thank you so much. Fumta.
You need an air horn.
Thank you, Fumta. So yeah, I'm really happy with how it's coming together. There was something I talk about called the Electro-Arcanic Magic Pulse, and I used that in a game I was dungeon mastering this week. It was like the third part of a game I DM'd amongst my friends. The dungeon master, after the 2.5-year campaign, is taking some time off to set us up. We're going to play Blade Runner coming up. Okay. And so while they're prepping that game, I decided to throw people into a little adventure. I cobbled together a map. It's all very old school. It's like I worked on graph paper with digital graph paper with blue pencil and all that stuff to give it an old school look. And one of the things is I just knew that the characters tend to get they layer buff upon buff. They've got bless, and they've got this, and they've got that, and all this stuff is too much. So I have a magical spell called Electro-Iconic Magic Pulse, EMP. Everyone within 60 feet line of sight of the person who casts it, anything magical shuts off for 1 round. If it's something that can be sustained some other way, like a magic weapon or something which is just generated, it basically has a battery inside it, that will come back on. But anything which is like a concentration spell or a buff like Bless, gone. It's a way to just reset all these characters who are so overpowered. It's a thing where it's just like they come in and they're like, okay, we have all this buff and all this stuff. I feel like it's going to be a really popular spell among dungeon masters and the sort of thing that a lot of players will hate.
And also make a great name for a zine.
Yeah. Probably will. It's no one will know how to spell it if I gave them the URL.
Yeah, I was going to say you got to get that domain name real quick.
But I really appreciate you supporting the campaign, and I appreciate your encouragement along the way, Dan.
No, this is what this is for. Whether or not we have any viewers, which we do appreciate, it's just you and I stroking each other's egos and helping each other get creative.
Yeah, it's great. It's great, and I got to see that map, so that was worth it.
Yeah. Hopefully, you'll see it in something this year.
But I think we could see the people who had stopped in. How many people stopped in? We had some people stop in.
Yeah, and we much appreciate them. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. I didn't know that was a feature inside Twitch that you can click on the users in chat and see who is actually there. But and I appreciate first time person Itami Kuro. I was watching another stream. I think it's
why
this
you were
week.
Doing this one.
No, I was watching on the stream the Geeks Can't group of guys. They have I'm going to be a guest. I think this week. I think on Wednesday on their program after I do Pencil to Pencil, and they give a shout out to everybody who's in chat at the beginning, and even if you said nothing, and I was like watching it, like I got called out. I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I liked being, it makes me really hesitant to visit other Twitch channels if I know that I could be seen.
Exactly. All right, sir. I got to get back to work.
Get back to work. It's good to see you, Dan.
And I will talk to you next Sunday, I think.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot to report.
Oh, yeah. I've got 3
Wednesday,
games.
Thursday, Friday.
Why don't I just write a novel instead and deal with any of this stuff?
That's not the way to end this. That's not the way to end this.
All right, Steve. I will be watching. I will be checking in on Death Dealer on and on and on and on and on this week to see how it climbs.
I appreciate it, Dan. Have a great week, everybody.
All right. See you later. Thank you. Oh, and may you make all of your saving throws.